There comes a moment in every person's life when silence gets too loud, when the soul can no longer tolerate delay, and the whisper within begins to roar. It's not in the noise of the crowd that your destiny is formed. It's in the quiet battle between the man you are and the man you promised yourself you would become. And in that moment, you are presented with a choice. Shrink back into the comfort of your excuses, or force yourself to rise. No one is coming to do it for you. Not the mentors you admire, not the friends you complain to, not even God himself will violate the laws he set in motion. You must choose. You must move. You must become the force that drives your future forward. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards results, and results are born in discipline, not desire. Desire is the spark. Discipline is the flame. The weak man waits to feel motivated. The strong man builds habits that make motivation irrelevant. James Allen once wrote, "Circumstance does not make the man, it reveals him to himself." And that is the brutal truth. What you do daily, in the dark, in the silence, when no one's watching, that is your character. That is your destiny. If you do not master yourself, the world will master you. It will chew up your dreams and spit them back as regret. And regret is not some abstract pain. It is a fire that never stops burning. You will see others rise not because they were better, but because they chose to push when you hesitated. Because they forced themselves through boredom, through resistance, through every excuse the mind can manufacture. And they came out forged. You must become the one who decides, who commands, who acts, in spite of emotion, in spite of fear, in spite of the aching doubt that whispers, "You're not enough." You're not your thoughts. You're what you do with them. The mind is a garden. That is what Allen taught. It will grow weeds or it will grow fruit, and the gardener decides which it shall be. If you allow the seeds of laziness, distraction, fear, and envy to take root, do not be surprised when your harvest is failure. But if you will discipline your mind, if you will water it daily with focused thought, with clear purpose, with relentless vision, you will become unstoppable. Do not worship your feelings, master them, because the man who waits to feel right will never move. But the man who moves, regardless of how he feels, he is the one who shapes history. Do you think Carnegie felt like continuing after 12-hour shifts in the steel mills? Do you think Disney felt hopeful when they told him he had no imagination? Do you think Ford felt confident when he was laughed out of his first 5 bankruptcies? But they moved anyway. They moved with trembling hands, shattered hearts, and unfinished plans. But they moved, and in moving, they forced the world to adjust. That is what you must do. Stop negotiating with weakness. Stop justifying procrastination. Stop labeling laziness as self-care. Care for yourself by keeping your promises to yourself. Because the moment you break a promise to yourself, you begin to corrode your own identity. You begin to believe the lie that says, "This is just who I am." No, who you are is who you decide to become through action. You want to achieve your goals. Then stop waiting for permission. Stop blaming the past. Stop scrolling for inspiration. You have everything you need right now: breath, will, and the power to choose. That's it. That's all the greats had. That's all you need. But you must decide. Not wish, not hope, decide. Decision is the razor edge that separates the average from the excellent. It is the point of no return. When you decide, truly decide, every cell in your body bends to your will. The universe responds, the mind obeys. But until you do, you are a slave to your own uncertainty. You must force yourself to become obsessed with the vision you carry. It must haunt you. It must ache in your bones. And when the alarm goes off, when the body resists, when the world pulls you back, you say, "I move anyway." That is where greatness is born. Do not misunderstand. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. When your actions align with your vision, even your smallest step carries the weight of destiny. But when you delay, when you shrink, when you make excuses, you fracture the path beneath your own feet. And a fractured path cannot carry the weight of greatness. You want to rise? Then raise your standard. The world will meet you at your level of demand. Not what you beg for, not what you fantasize about. What you demand. Through relentless work, through focused energy, through unwavering commitment. There is no secret. There is no shortcut. There is only effort, repeated until results are born. Ask yourself this: what am I becoming through what I tolerate? Because every day you either strengthen the dream or you strengthen the excuse. Edison didn't wait for inspiration. He forced it into existence through 10,000 failures. He woke up every day and said, "Today I fail better." That's the mindset of a warrior. That's the mindset of a creator. That's the mindset of a man who refused to be ordinary. What you allow will continue. If you allow doubt to guide your steps, it will become your master. If you allow fear to shape your choices, it will become your cage. But if you confront it, if you lean into it, if you walk into the fire of your own resistance, you will emerge as something the world can't define. Force yourself. Force yourself when your body is tired. Force yourself when your mind wants to wander. Force yourself when the world calls it too late. Because the graveyard is filled with people who had potential but never had discipline. Dreams buried under years of hesitation. Do not be one of them. Do not trade the pain of discipline for the agony of regret. Get uncomfortable, get obsessed, and above all, get moving. You cannot steer a ship that isn't in motion. You cannot sculpt a masterpiece by staring at the marble. You must swing the hammer. You must strike with intensity. You must bleed into the vision until it breathes. And yes, it will be hard. It's supposed to be. Nothing worthy of your soul will come easy. You are not here to coast. You are here to climb, to build, to break through. You are not a feather in the wind. You are the storm that carves valleys into mountains. Do you want it bad enough to sacrifice who you were for who you could become? Because that's the cost. You will have to outgrow your excuses. You will have to abandon comfort, like a man escaping a burning house. You will have to learn to love the grind, to fall in love with the process, to see the pain not as punishment, but as purification. James Allen wrote, "The man who thinks strong thoughts becomes a strong man." But I say, the man who acts on strong thoughts becomes a force of nature. Thought without action is a cage, but thought with action is a revolution. What are you starting a revolution against? Your laziness? Your distraction? Your addiction to ease? Your fear of failure? Then start it. Today. Not when it feels good, not when it makes sense. Start it because your future self is begging you not to waste one more second. Force yourself because nobody is coming to save you. Force yourself because the clock is ticking. Force yourself because inside you is a level of power that even you have never seen. But it will not come gently. It will not show up uninvited. It will only appear when you've earned the right through effort. Stop asking for it to be easier. Start asking for the strength to be stronger. Because the man who becomes great does not wait for life to soften. he sharpens himself to meet it. Do you want a life of meaning? Then create it. Do you want the body, the business, the influence, the legacy? Then pay for it, in sweat, in silence, in sacrifice. Pay in the currency of action, and do it without applause. Do it when no one's watching. Do it when every part of you wants to quit, and keep going anyway, because that's the moment you become unstoppable. Let the world doubt you. Let them whisper. Let them mock what they don't understand. Let them laugh at your discipline, your drive, your obsession, because while they talk, you build. While they scroll, you study. While they rest, you rise. And when the day comes that the spotlight finds you, they will call it luck. But you will know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was labor. It was late nights, early mornings, missed parties, broken comfort zones. It was force, not the kind that crushes, but the kind that carves, the kind that chisels greatness out of stone, the kind that doesn't flinch at failure, but feeds on it. What is your dream worth to you? Is it worth the pain, the pressure, the silence between wins? If it's not, you don't want it bad enough. Because if you did, you'd already be moving. You'd already be writing, creating, training, building. You wouldn't be looking for signs. You'd be becoming the sign. And that's the mindset you must wear like armor. The knowing that no one is coming to push you. You must push yourself. Do you hear that? That sound in your soul when you imagine the life you could be living. That is your spirit knocking on the door of your potential. But potential without force is fantasy. It's time to break the door down. You don't need more ideas, you need execution. Execution is worship, it's devotion, it's you telling the world and God himself that you're serious about what he placed inside you. You weren't born to be a consumer, you were born to be a creator. You were born to leave something behind. But if you do not take control of your mind, the world will sell you mediocrity wrapped in comfort, and you'll thank them for it. Don't let that happen. Don't let your life become a rerun of almost. Almost tried, almost finished, almost changed, almost became. Almost is a death sentence to greatness. And if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. Stop letting how you feel today sabotage who you could be tomorrow. You cannot negotiate with weakness. Weakness must be dominated, overruled, silenced, not by shouting but by action. Force is not just physical. Force is internal. It is psychological. It is spiritual. It is the refusal to let your past define your pace. It is the roar inside a man who finally says, "I've had enough." Enough delay. Enough excuses. Enough living beneath the standard of my calling. Every second you hesitate, someone else is executing. Somewhere, right now, there's a person with less talent, less time, fewer connections, and more obstacles. And they're doing it anyway. Not because it's easy, but because they've made it non-negotiable. That's the difference. It's not about your environment. It's not about your childhood. It's not about what school you went to or who didn't support you. It's about one thing. Did you force yourself to move anyway? You want peace. Force yourself to create it. You want wealth. Force yourself to become valuable. You want freedom. Force yourself to become disciplined. It's the paradox of life that to gain control, you must surrender to effort. To gain freedom, you must submit to responsibility. To rise, you must kneel before the altar of discomfort and offer your comfort as sacrifice. Because nothing changes until you change. Not the economy, not your boss, not your family, not your city. You are the axis of your own transformation. And if you do not rise, your life will not rise. If you do not command, your circumstances will not obey. Your goal is not a suggestion. It is a vow. Treat it that way. Would a warrior wake up and see how he feels? Would a builder pause every time he doubted the structure? Would a king wait for validation before he ruled? No. They rise because that is what they do. You must become the same. You must become the type of person who does not need a reason to act, only a direction. Who does not need hype to start, only the voice of his own conviction. You must become the force, the fire, the hand that pulls your future into the present with stubborn tenacity. The world does not yield to the timid. It yields to the relentless, to the one who shows up when it hurts, to the one who speaks life when everything around him screams defeat, to the one who, in the silence, keeps building. Build anyway. Show up anyway. Work anyway. Speak life into your dreams and then move like they are already real. Because the mind does not distinguish between a vivid vision and reality. It obeys what you impress upon it with feeling and repetition. That is your weapon. Use it. You must understand, the mind is a servant. It will follow whatever master you crown, doubt or discipline, fear or faith, comfort or courage. And whichever one you feed will grow into your identity. That's why you must force yourself to believe, not passively, but violently, with conviction, with fire, with the full force of your being. Belief is not some fragile hope, it's a mental hammer. And when you swing it long enough, it breaks every wall that once kept you small. You are not weak. You've just been hypnotized by repetition, repeating lies, repeating failures, repeating patterns. But repetition can also set you free. Repeat the vision. Repeat the action. Repeat the discipline until it becomes who you are. Not what you do, but who you are. Do it again, and again, and again. Because the man who stays in motion, no matter how small the steps, outruns the man waiting for perfect conditions. And perfect conditions, they don't exist. There is no right time. There is only now, this moment, this breath, and what you decide to do with it. So write the page, make the call, lift the weight, launch the brand, film the video, take the step. Because the step matters more than the strategy. The strategy will evolve, but the step declares to the universe that you are no longer the man who waits. You are the man who wins. And how do you win? You keep going when it's not fun. You show up when it's not sexy. You build when it's not viral, because real success isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the quiet hours before the sunrise, the lonely nights after the world has gone to sleep. It's what you do when no one claps, and it's who you become when no one sees. This is the part they never show you, the part where you stare at your own reflection and say, "We are not going back." The part where you override the old identity, where you kill the comfort-seeking version of yourself and bury him in yesterday. Because you know that he cannot walk with you into your future. You were not born to survive. You were born to subdue. And everything you want, the money, the peace, the power, the impact, it lives on the other side of consistency. Not occasional effort, not momentary hype, consistency. The slow, painful, unsexy grind that builds giants. Giants like Rockefeller, who forced himself to learn numbers by candlelight while others slept. Giants like Buffett, who read 8 hours a day when no one believed in compounding knowledge. Giants like Bloomberg, who was fired before he built an empire that now runs the data world. They all had something in common. They didn't stop. They forced themselves. They acted in the absence of applause. They moved without guarantee. They showed up when it was thankless, meaningless, and brutal. And they kept going. Because they understood what most never do. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you are willing to suffer for. And so the question stands, echoed through the centuries, whispered through every great man who ever lived. Will you suffer for it? Will you bleed for it? Will you break your habits, your patterns, your comfort, and your past to reach for the man you've never met? Because if not, let's stop pretending. Let's stop saying you want it, because wanting without working is just another form of self-deception. It feels good, but it doesn't produce anything. Force yourself. Force yourself to read when your mind is tired. Force yourself to wake before the world does. Force yourself to plan when others are drifting. Force yourself to be still when the noise gets loud. Force yourself to grow because no one else can do it for you. And when the resistance screams, when the flesh rebels, when the old identity claws for survival, breathe and move anyway. That's the moment you're closest to breakthrough. That's the test, and every test is a doorway. Most never enter. They look at the threshold of discomfort and retreat, but not you. You are not most people. You are the exception. You are the anomaly. You are the storm they didn't see coming. You are the one who rises when the world rests. You are the one who chooses clarity over chaos, discipline over dopamine, execution over ego, and not because it's easy, because it's right, because deep down you know that no version of you will ever feel fulfilled unless you become the man who finishes what he starts. You are being watched, not by them, but by the man in the mirror. Every choice you make etches itself into his soul. Every skipped workout, every snoozed alarm, every "I'll do it later," it all adds up into shame or into strength. And at some point, you must decide who that man becomes. Not with a wish, but with a weapon. Action. You want to win? Then stop trying to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Greatness comes through action, not emotion. You must move in uncertainty. That's what every giant did. Carnegie didn't know if his steel empire would last. He moved anyway. Lincoln had no assurance the Union would hold. He acted anyway. They weren't gods. They were men. Men who made decisions that outlived them. You are no different. You have that same divine spark inside you, but it must be fed with effort, fanned with fire, and forged through adversity. If you only act when it's easy, you will only live a fraction of the life you were called to lead. So get hard, not hard-hearted, hard-willed. Develop a mind that doesn't flinch when life hits. Build a spine that doesn't bend when pressure mounts. Construct a soul so resilient that people will wonder what planet you came from. Because this world doesn't give power. It yields it to those who demand it through disciplined action. The dream is not some cosmic lottery ticket. The dream is your responsibility, and your ability to achieve it lies in one thing: how often you choose force over feeling. That means showing up when you're tired. That means silence when the urge to complain comes. That means pushing through the fog of distraction, through the addiction to validation, through the temptation of excuses and saying, "This is my life. I'm not wasting it." And here's the truth that will sting if you've been hiding. If you don't have what you want, it's because you haven't yet become the version of you that deserves it. So evolve. Fast. You don't have time to waste. Every second is a vote. A vote for your vision, or a vote for your limitations. And every time you delay, you cast your ballot for stagnation. But when you act, boldly, quickly, without hesitation, you are voting for the man you were destined to become. So act. Don't overthink it. Don't journal about it. Don't meditate on it for 30 days. Take one bold step now and let it create momentum that obliterates inertia. You want to write the book? open the document. You want to build the brand, launch the page. You want to sculpt the body, hit the gym. You want to change your life, change your day, because life is built in days, and days are built in choices. And choices are built in moments like this. Bro, so where you finally decide that enough is enough. You are no longer the victim. You are the architect, the builder, the warrior, the creator, and you will not be denied, not because life owes you, but because you've trained yourself to stop quitting. You have taught your body to follow your mind. You have taught your mind to obey your vision, and you have taught your vision to burn through every obstacle like fire. You are not soft, you are not weak, you are not lost. You are simply one disciplined decision away from becoming dangerous. And dangerous men don't make excuses, they make moves. So move. Move like your legacy depends on it, and because it does. Move like your children are watching because they are. Move like God Himself is waiting to bless your obedience, because He is. Force yourself until the hard becomes normal and the normal becomes legendary. You've come this far. You've endured the battle within. You've confronted the voice of weakness, of delay, of distraction, and you've silenced it. But now comes the part most people never reach. The demand for consistency day after day, without applause, without permission, without feeling like it. Because success isn't built on passion, it's built on endurance. You must endure. Endure when the progress is invisible. Endure when the breakthroughs feel far. Endure when the world questions your pace, your process, your sanity. Because the world only believes in the man who refuses to stop, who keeps pressing, building, grinding, until the results silence every critic, including the one in your own head. Force yourself not once, but always. Not just when it's new and exciting, but when it's old and grueling. Not just when you feel seen, but when no one's clapping. Not just when the door opens, but when you have to kick it down, because the most powerful man is not the one who starts strong, it's the one who finishes. And that, my friend, is where you rise. You rise when others fold, you push when others plateau, you create while others consume, you sacrifice when others settle. Because you've made a decision deeper than preference, stronger than emotion, more sacred than motivation, a vow with your own soul to never quit. That's what separates the average from the legend. Average is fueled by how they feel. Legends are fueled by who they've decided to become. And you? You've already decided. Now walk in it. Walk like the world bends to your belief. Walk like the chains have been broken. Walk like the old identity is gone, because it is. It's dead. And from its ashes rises something unshakable. A man who doesn't need validation to know his value. A man who doesn't need comfort to know he's on the right path. A man who doesn't wait for life to hand him favor, because he's too busy creating it. This is your moment, not some motivational high, not a fleeting inspiration, but a war cry from the deepest part of your soul calling you back to what you always were, focused, disciplined, relentless, immovable, a man of vision, a man of action, a man of destiny. So step forward into the storm, step forward into the pain, step forward into the unknown, knowing that the fire will not destroy you, it will refine you. You are the storm now, the delay ends here, the excuses die here. The soft voice of doubt is drowned out by the roar of your discipline. You do not need easier, you need stronger, you need sharper, you need more consistent action. Not in sprints, but in strides. Quiet, deliberate, non-negotiable strides toward your highest self. And hear me now. That man you keep seeing in your dreams, the one with the vision, the voice, the strength, the freedom, the power, he's not a fantasy. He's the reward for the version of you that refuses to stay the same. Force yourself to meet him. Every day, inch closer. Every decision, act bolder. Every failure, grow wiser. Every setback, come back stronger. And one day, not someday, but one day very soon, you will wake up inside the life you used to pray for. Not because you waited, not because you hoped, but because you forced yourself to move when others paused. You rose when others slumbered. You built when others broke. You were uncommon in your effort, unmatched in your discipline, unshakable in your belief. And because of that, you didn't just hit your goals. You became the kind of man who can't help but shatter them. So burn this into your heart. You don't get what you want. You get what you force yourself to become. Now go and become it. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me today.